Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean. Okay, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. It's not afternoon. Welcome to 5.8G Alive, the magazine show brought to you by Connections 50 Plus, where we discuss all things related to people in this beautiful third act between the ages of 50 and 80 and even beyond. I'm Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus, and with me as usual.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, the other co-creator of Connections 50 Plus. Welcome to this evening's show. And yes, we still celebrating emancipation. So happy African Emancipation, Time Week. Yeah.
Good evening and welcome. I am Maureen Joanne Moen. And this evening, the conversation really is about freedom and the willingness to grow and develop. So I'm happy that we have a captive audience who will engage in the conversations, I'm sure, and hopefully will benefit and start having their own conversations about the topic of discussion this evening.
Yes, we had an interesting last show. We started to talk about relationship with self, and we were going through our questions. We got through 3 questions, and feedback told us that many of you all were kind of scratching your head and wondering, what is really going on, boy? And then we went into our meetup last week and continued with the last set of questions, and we realized that, listen, we really focus a lot on what the outside says to us, and we bounce that back. And I think as we continue to celebrate emancipation, this whole discussion about who am I, what is my identity as a person, continues to seep in. And I don't think it is just because of the season. I think it is a fundamental question that many of us grappling with, because we are in a period of transitioning from the second act stage to the third act stage. Our lives are different, our priorities are different, and I don't think we may have taken a lot of time to focus on what that difference is, what it means to me, and given the difference, what am I becoming and how am I becoming? And Maureen, you asked us an interesting question that takes a different spin on that whole, who am I in the world with other people? So, Maureen, you want to introduce the question that we are looking at today?
Yeah, so the question I asked was about building social capital. And more importantly, not only how you build it, but how you sustain it, and the benefits to be derived from building social capital. Because we in stages before and acts before spent a lot of time ensuring that we had financial capital.
Yeah.
But now that the actors change and the stage is different and so many things are different for us, it's imperative that we also have strength in social capital. So our discussion this evening is about that whole issue of social capital, its benefit, and certainly what are we doing in the third act to ensure that we build a strong social capital, and certainly facilitate our legacy on the third act stage.
Great. So, tribe get together. We're going into being a tribe, and we continue in the discussion because I think it is an integral part of our emancipation. our lives. And let's be in a tribe and talk about social capital. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we start off, Jennifer asked a question earlier. Maureen, what is social capital?
Right. So, and again, everybody would have their own perspective. But from where I stand, I see myself no longer wanting to network because I'm not acquiring any more accolades, or nor am I interested in that. Instead, what I want to see for myself is to build a stronger community and not hold on to the community that I had previously. And that's what social capital speaks to, the continuance of growth and depth to ensure that as you continue to live, and by living, we're not talking about existing, we talk about really living, thriving, developing, showing interest, building community, strengthening your whole reservoir in terms of your communication and that kind of thing. What are the key elements? What do we require? What do I require? And more importantly, even if I know what I require, how is that fitting in to my way of life? Or uh, in addition to as well, is how can I give back to those communities? Because one of the things that I see that tends to happen is that we take a lot, but there's need for us also to give back to the communities, and to ensure that everybody is strengthened as a result of the engagement and the interaction. So social capital really is building that reservoir that would allow for us to continue to feed as we thirst for growth and developing and nurturing.
Mm-hmm. Jen, any comment on that?
No, yeah, as Maureen talked, it comes back to again with the question we asked, do we really know ourselves and who we are? Because Maureen, I really think it starts from there. Before we
Yeah.
start building that social capital, before we start building stronger relationship and moving forward and looking to transition from one stage to the next, we have to know, really understand ourselves and what we want. And also know the stage we're at, because we on to the third stage with different experiences. All right.
Yeah.
And some may come on to this stage already with believing that, okay, they have many friends, in different, even in different areas. So they have a community around them. So they may feel
Yeah.
that they already have a community around them. So when you talk about building social capital, I good in terms of, but it's not until you really start to live this different life outside that workplace you're accustomed to, and you realize, I thought I had a community, but the little tribe I had when I was in that workplace, you realize, hey, they don't have that time for you. You move on now differently. Your family, all the different
Okay.
combination of things, different aspects, whether it's family, as whether, as you say, it's financial, whatever, you realize it's getting smaller, your financial capital getting smaller by a lot, because you may just have what you save towards your investments, etc., but you ain't getting in that monthly income. So that dwindling, your work friends and things, that everything dwindling, because we getting older, and friends dying off, your children who getting married, everybody going on their own. So for me, when I hear the explanation on that, Maureen, and I reflect on where I am, and and I ask myself that question, am I building that social capital? And somewhere in my mind, I say, well, I don't need to do that again. To me, I have it. But I now check in and say, I have to reflect. You never stop. We cannot stop reflecting and checking ourselves, because as we get older, things change.
Yeah.
So to me, I always have to keep checking back. You thought you had plenty friends, you didn't have friends. The friends that you used to go out with, you can't go out again because so and so. Things you used, you know, so we have to keep going back within and, you know, saying, hey, are we still, are we on track? Is it what we really want, or we thought we wanted, but we don't want it again, or we can't do it again? So it's a lot to me in that building of the social capital, building relationships, looking at what your needs are, what gives you joy and everything. It's a stage, you know, we really, it's a road, we're on that road. It's not something that you say, yeah, I reached. To me, it's ongoing. That's how I look at that building of social capital. It's an ongoing process. Yeah.
Yeah. I was given Boring the joke that earlier about a conversation I was having with my trainer. Now don't get excited, people. This is fancy. This ain't no jail or gym or nothing. It's a very I am a lazy person. I don't exercise unless somebody in front of me. And you all would have met her. And so I took a month off, and I was saying to her, I say, listen, I find you need to get with the program. You know, I going to be 65 in December. And I think you need to kind of tamper down this nonsense. I don't like this program you have with me. You looking at my body and you figure I could do X, Y, and Z, and you keep pushing me. But I'm telling you that I want to be treated like an old lady. Treat me like an old lady. She just started laughing and she said, define the old lady for me because it's fitting with what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
And we started a discussion, and I started to talk about remembering looking at my parents and stuff and thinking, all right, my mind and my body are in decent shape, pretty decent shape. And if we think 10 years down the road, because we started to set goals, you know, what you're preparing for.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, I'm not really worried about my mind and I'm not really worried about my body. Of course, you never know what will come, but for now,
Yeah.
I don't have things in front of me. I said, but I am worried. I am concerned, and I think a lot about how I would live and where I would live and who will be around me. And we went down the road with, okay, so I'm preparing this body and I'm preparing this mind. And if I look at my father, I sure he could reach 100. So even if I reach 95, even if I reach
Yeah.
95, as I said before, it's 30 years. Where am I going to be living? You know, I think about my children and I say the way it is, I cannot rely on them. And I'm in a complete, I'm done with work. So what made up life with work is not relevant. And I realize that I am at a turning point. I have the ability now to shape the texture of not where I live, the physical address, or how I live. Yeah, pension, you get groceries, have enough clothes, and but the issue of who is in my life and how am I interacting with people? And Maureen said the thing, community. What kind of community do I want to? I think I have the blessing to be able to sit down and say, you know, if I give myself a 10-year runway, I could think about this. And I realize that how I envision myself living in 10 years' time is not the same as I live now. And it is something I have to proactively work towards building. I have to start now getting those things that I'm interested in, being more involved with people and communities that share those interests, things that may be of concern in terms of who I live with. Do I want to be in this house? Do I want to be in a smaller space? Who is the neighbor? What kinds of activities do I want to have? What kinds of amenities and services do I want to have? And I realized that I'm at the stage where I have to literally, just as we talked, Jennifer, about financially preparing a budget for retirement, I have to restructure the kind of social capital, meaning that network of people who are around me, who share my life, who bring services to me, who I give service to. I have to sit down and restructure. You say, I'm going to restructure your finances. I have to sit down and restructure that. If I am assuming that I will be in pretty good physical health and have a fairly good brain for the next 30 years, then what is that body and brain living in and who is it living with? And I see that as building out my social capital. And to me, it is a more critical issue than on a pension till I'm dead. Wherever money I have, that's the money I have. I will cut my cloth to suit.
Yeah.
If a little bit, if it's plenty, inflation take it, I will cut my cloth to suit. So it's not a money issue. But I can have all the money that I want. But if I am not living in community with people, then how am I living? And that brought the whole issue of, am I proactively managing my social capital? And it's not only a give thing, it's not only a receive thing, it is equally important a given thing. And I don't know if I didn't have that argument with my trainer this morning, I don't know that I would have considered that part of life. And I don't know that we think about life in that way, especially thinking into the future. Yeah.
I think it's very difficult for us as human beings to deal with anything that surrounds emotion and your senses. What strikes me as well is that this aggression towards technology, and it's not like I am averse. Life is about change, and things do change but in this third act stage, a lot of people I've seen have become very isolated and lonely and fearful and are unable to really live because they are consumed by technology and that instant gratification as opposed to how and nobody's saying that you want to go back to the old time days, but rather there's some bearing to personal engagement and touch and communication and actually putting yourself out of your way or getting out there to experience new things and that kind of thing. And so in terms of where we're at now, where I am at now, I feel that those things are vital to my growth and development, but also to my survival. Because if I don't start nurturing something other than my finances, then what really happens to me as a person? I start to disappear because I will not be able to know who I am. I wouldn't even understand the relevance of who I am in the space and in the world in which I am supposed to be interacting and engaging. And I think that at this stage, I also have a lot of wisdom knowledge and understanding that I should be sharing with a wider community to start encouraging people to have conversations about validating themselves and understanding their worth and not waiting on somebody to tell them who they are, what they're about, or how they feel.
Maureen, how I see it, is that when you get to this stage, we tend to put on blinkers because to really admit that, hey, we're getting older. We don't like many people tell you, don't ask me about age. I don't want to talk about age. And they may panic when they look at themselves, realize today you one way. I've decided not to dye my hair again. For after how many umpteen years I always have my hair dyed. And I'm asked the question, how you feeling as you're seeing so much gray and thing? I say, well, when I decided not to dye, I also decided that this is who I am now at this age. So I could. But I'm saying this because we have to accept, first of all, the stage we are at in terms of age. All right? And that fear of sometimes you don't want to socialize, you don't want to do much because you're sort of admitting, like if you go out, you get tired early, you may want to go back home, things like that. No? And it's facing that realization, that reality that, hey, boy, we reach, people tell me that. How we reach here. Now, Tarian spoke about her looking at next 10 years. And she reminded me when she said next 10 years, 75. Remind me sometimes when my children talking about people who old and where they going and they're so old and they don't need to do that. And they use my agency, but I'm over 70 doing. Sometimes I have to say, hey, hold up, hold up, hold
Correct.
up. You better reach there. But yes, it's because we have to block out the noise about being old and you're too old to make friends, you're too old to start something and all that. We need to block out that to reach that stage you're talking about of building the friendship and doing things and going out there feeling good about who you are. And I I find myself really making a lot of I should say, turns as I move on. And I see myself at this stage looking and say, okay, I just, this is how I am. I move in stages and periods of time. And I say, okay, next year I celebrated my 75th birthday. And I realize a lot of my friends, a lot of things, I say, I complain, oh, I don't have no car. I have friend what car, they can't drive it. You understand? So you have to
Yeah.
switch your thinking as you move on. So for me, I'm very happy looking at different things. I'm still doing new things. But I remove now, it's not a financial issue, it was a financial. If you had asked me about a year ago still, it was a financial issue for me because oh God, I don't have enough money. Because the goals that I had is a lot I needed a lot of money to achieve the goals that I wanted. A new car because I don't want any car that's shutting down on me. And a new car costs X. And I said, oh God, where are getting, these sort of things. So we have to change our thinking, how we look at certain things, our goals or what we want to achieve and say, hey, where are you going? This is what you could enjoy. Nothing wrong with having friends. You want to go out, then hire a driver to take you where you want to go. We can still do so many things, but we put limits on ourselves. And if we want, I really believe in I like my freedom. I like to do things. And so when we talk about the freedom, for me, this is the stage that allows us, we should free ourselves of all the things that keeping us back. The financial, we ain't have the money. When we gonna get the money? We not working again. Oh geez, we really have a list of things a list of blocks. We keep piling up the blocks, you know?
Yeah.
And I believe, so if for instance, I say, but so if you have the blocks and you have blocks that you have there thinking that is the building blocks, and you put some labels on it. So for instance, for me, financial was a block in my mind because I feel I never have enough. I think you would ask, what was enough? Enough for me over a long list. I want you then this, that. Financial, I really remove that from blocking for me to progress and move forward in the things I wanted to do. And I realized, you know what? But it working. I don't need that. Terry and could tell you, I always want this big set of money. I don't know what I want this money save up for, like a investment. But no,
Safety
serious.
net, safety net, safe
Always, let me tell you, I
in
could
case
tell
money.
you about that. Tell you about that. I'm not doing this because I want the money there, and it hit me, but Jennifer, you're here already, you're here. This is it. You understand? This is the stage I'm at. And you're thinking, and what was a reality for me, one of the safety nets I thought that I could have was an insurance policy I had. I remember when I took it out, it was to age 80, and I found that was old, and I say, well, good, I'm trying to have enough money to bury me. And I said, Mama Jan, for just 5 years again, I have no policy, you know? And, no, serious. We do, when you really start to think of things and jotting down and looking at the situation, and guess how I realized that? Again, knowing that I'm entering a different stage again, I did a review of okay, so the list of things, the list of to-do things that I want to do, all the things I want to do. And then a list what I have, how I could achieve it. And I realized, hey, you had to start saving by the time you reach 80, that policy done. How they get money to bury you? Find some other way. You know, things like that. So I
Yeah.
redid that whole list, and I made a list, and when you shared earlier on about how you set out for your social building that social capital. For me, when I start list, I didn't my heading is not social my heading is just life. How I'm moving forward in life now. I ain't putting no years again. Just how I'm moving forward. And I realized that's why I could put the X on money. What money? You don't even know that money. Don't care if you give me $1 million now. I drop that in the morning. I can't spend the money. So enjoy, as you said, and Terry Ann said it. Whatever you have now, see how it would work with the life you want to live. And I realize the life I want to live is not about, in my case, it's not about buying anything. It's not about building assets. It's really seeing building the meaningful relationships and doing the things that I enjoy doing. And when Terry Ann asks, in her case, in terms of her housing, that sort of thing, I created, I mean, nothing perfect and things may not work exact, but I has been creating the type of life I would like to, well, I enjoy, and the space I want to live in. So and because I thought of that, so let's say I had 10 years, let's say I started at 65, I had time, but the awareness that this is what I wanted to do, thank God. So I had the awareness and I started putting things together. So now at this other stage, I have to start putting things together, but it's more about building the relationships and doing the things and releasing the want and you can't, the want and the want and the want. So no more wants. I have no more my list. You know, say to-do list, or they say your wish list. I don't have no wish list or nothing again. At this stage, I know clearly, I see clearly what I want. I go for it. I take action. I'm one to take action. And the friends that I have around me, I know who good for what. When I say that, I want to go somewhere, I know who to call, who not to call, who will willing to, and I am open to doing things that I like. So I think it's for us, know the stage you are. This is what I'm at. Know the stage you are. Be honest with yourself and take that action and start reviewing, boy. Keep reviewing as every step of the way. And it will make a difference in terms of continuing to live the life that you want to live. Yeah.
Maureen, can I ask you a question? And the second part
Sure.
of what we discussed, because we all have our, if we agree that social capital really is that all those assets, I'll use the term asset because we're using capital, all those things that we have control over, I wouldn't say own, that influence the life that we live. Not the house and the money, but the texture of the life. Jennifer has a very clear view of what she wants, how she wants, and she has her friend infrastructure set. So a lot of her social capital is in place. But for people who are probably just realizing, all right, the second act is done. And that could be a startling thing. And I have to start this other thing, and probably very, very little of what was on that act could be carried forward. How do you go about, how do you start building or defining what kind of social capital you need to go forward?
Right. Well, for me, two elements are exceedingly important, or maybe three. Curiosity, the willingness to search and to re-engineer what you're going to be going into. And by re-engineer, I don't mean that you refabricate what went and try to, reupholster it so it's fitting in moving forward. So it's a whole question of, letting go of of the past and creating something which suits what you see yourself growing into. And the third thing is a willingness to invest and engage in situations where you're not sure what the outcomes will be. And I'll give an example. I I've reached a stage where I've started to kind of, my son will say declutter because he'd say I'm a hoarder, but I will say that I'm kind of like just going through my treasures. So quite recently, while I was going through a box, I was once very active in having pen pals and that kind of thing. And I was going through a box where I saw a lot of the letters from, and one of them was from a friend that I met in university at age 17.
Wow.
And it had her address and everything was there. I wasn't sure whether it would be the same address or whatever, but nonetheless, I wrote to her snail mail and I sent a picture to show her how I am now. And I said, well, I'm not sure if this will ever meet you, but look, these are the things I remember that you brought into my life at that
Wow.
time. And, that there are certain things that we would have shared. I said they're still relevant today that you said about me and stuff.
Wow.
But I now have a son and a granddaughter for the first time and whatever. And I sent it off. So in so doing, my son said, but you really have time, you real good. Because when you're going through those things, I thought you just tear them up. I said, no, there were some of them in there that I really felt connected to. And I remember the season we were in and how we struggled, but we got through and we made the promise that we will keep in touch. We maybe a year or so after, but everybody went in separate ways. Okay. So I wrote about 10 different cards to different people. Yeah. This one lady, she said, but she doesn't have the same address, but she said it was forwarded because where the apartment building that she lives in, people knew that she once lived there. Again, there were still people of our age who lived there too and whatever, and she forwarded it to her.
Continuity.
And she was just so happy. I had sent my number and stuff, and so she called and we started to chat, and she said, Maureen, we call it another 30 years
Wow.
past. We do have 30 years,
Yeah.
She's out in California. And she said, I know you like to travel. You still like to travel. I say, yes, I might get permission from my son. She said, please, you don't need that. We can meet at a central place and whatever. And let's not wait 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is. And something like that was very insightful for me, making the effort. Even when the noise said, well, what are you doing that for? Dump that. No, you don't know anybody and whatever. And, and we chat intermittently, like every week, I might send a message and she said to me, don't send me any forwards. Write me something about yourself.
Yes.
I'll write something about myself, about my children, my grandchildren, whatever, so that we could kind of reconnect that way. And I said, that's fine. So we use the WhatsApp, but at the same time, we also engage in and that kind of thing. And that's the kind of thing that says, look, I am building my social capital.
Yeah.
And it was just curiosity. It fell on my lap. I could have discarded it. I wrote to some of the others. One of them, her husband wrote back and said she's deceased. But he said he read it and he was like, oh my God. He recalled hearing my name, but he didn't know what happened. And so that's the kind of thing. Right? It doesn't have to be an immediate circle and it doesn't have to be people who you have already engaged with, but you have to be curious and interested and motivated and driven to expand your wish and your desire and to fulfill that need that you have in you, because nobody knows that need. You know the need, right?
Yeah.
And therefore you have to explore that, and the world is your oyster.
Maureen, that, so whatever mood you at the time and you just do it.
Yeah.
And I find the joy, I know the joy that brought you, not just to send it,
Correct.
could you imagine? To get
Yes.
that response?
Yes. Yeah. My son was he was surprised. He said, you all old people still have something and you, okay.
No, and you
one for the books. I said, but
and
no,
it just shows we have to look at what makes us happier. Because, I don't even have I remember pen pal, I don't have a letter from anybody. But it have things that will move you to reach out, to do different things.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic what you did. And for those who, some people might say, what are you doing that for? But that joy that it brought you, that's great.
I hear that story, and I had written down while I don't know if it was you or Jennifer were talking. We so often limit ourselves, and when we check why are we limiting ourselves, it usually comes down to ego and pride. Ego and pride, how it gonna look and all that kind of stuff. And you have described your action as being curious, but I think you were so phenomenally brave, because not a lot of people are willing to risk exposing themselves at all. to anything new, having reached this ripe old age
Yeah,
with and all the status and ego that you have today, which is really in your head, because it has no currency at all in the world, because where it was relevant is not a part of your life
Correct.
anymore. And you sit down there are people that we could reach out to. There are people that we could remember. But for whatever reason, at them station, what she doing? I up here, she down there, or I down here, they up there, they ain't gonna like me, but they gonna think, we put so many obstacles in our way to that lock us out from the
yeah,
rich capital of a community and society that is just there. And what is the risk of just reaching out and asking some old number you see in your phone or some
Correct.
Facebook memory come up from 15 years ago?
yeah.
What stops you from just sending a note? Hey, you just come up on my feed. How you going? Which is the equivalent to that letter. What are we risking? So, that whole thing of how do you begin to develop a different and new life from the one that existed before? And I think that is just fantastic. And if I may say another thing is just to do something different. Just do
Yeah.
something different. Do something different. And I'm on my sewing journey. Listen, that's this getting me encountering so many different kind of people, different,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
different worlds that was clueless. They're in front of my nose, but I was totally, totally clueless. But it's so rich and there's so much to do going down that hole, whether it's through the gardening people or the sewing people or
Mhm.
the whatever it is. But this whole thing, all right, how do you begin and how do you sustain it? Is your capital. We paid so much attention before to saving the money and save for this one to go to college and put aside and prepare. Oh God, we know how to put aside and prepare and sacrifice and this and that and the other. So what is it that we have to put aside and prepare? It's probably time and some effort to learn. And what are we sacrificing? What? The risk that somebody from the past might not remember us? Or the risk that you approach somebody with a preposterous idea or an invitation to do something different and they say no? If everybody say no, go to the event and do it yourself. Go, just do it yourself and enjoy it. And you never know what you will meet or what you'll encounter because it's not a difficult thing. But when you sit down and think, oh God, make new friends, get into new activities, it sounds so risky, but it is not. And it may be as simple as that.
Terry, and what I want to add to, and it's something I decided to do, I very recently I did it, is that, as I say, because of the stage I'm at, I believe that and certain situations that happening to my friends now as we age, I decided to even write out how I would like to be treated and what I would like in the event of certain situations. Simple, eh? And I'm not talking about death here or kind of, but
Yeah. Yeah.
so I decided for some people it might be scary because it's look like is your last wishes, but it's not that. It's not really that. Um, so I looked at it and say, okay, this is what I like. So this is what my plans are. Right? I'm planning to do X. Well, it's just like you're doing a diary, but I was just pulling from it the key aspects that I feel if I can't handle it properly, this is how I would like you all to handle it. And
Mm.
this is nothing to do with the money or the last will or not. This is to do with me enjoying my life. You know? So if I cannot, for some reason, cannot attend to certain things, if you take, I would like you to do X, Y, and Z. And I found after I did it, when I started, I said, oh gosh, it's sounding kind of like you giving your last wish. And I said, no, this is not about that. I am looking at certain things with my friends and decisions, and it's not happening. You know? So
Yeah,
that is something people could think about as they move along, depending on what stage they are. Or talk,
yeah.
I wrote, but also I wrote down, I told my daughters, hey, this is, this is how, and they say one thing, Mommy, I know that already. We see how you're
Yeah.
moving. We know you will want these things done. It's okay. We gonna make sure this will happen. So I just thought I should share this because we don't think of these things, eh? And in all my
Oh,
planning, I didn't think of that before. It's just as you say, looking at, you're on this journey and things come up and I say, oh boy, you see me, that ain't happening to me, let me, do something about it. But as you
yeah.
say, it's to take action on it. Take whatever action you have to take to make sure you put that, whatever it is, in place. Oh,
Two things I want to employ people to do. One is to give themselves permission. I don't know why
yeah,
people always have to wait on somebody else to give you permission to do things that you want to do in your life. Look, give yourself permission. This is your stage. This
Go
is
and do
your
it.
act. You're not, and do it. Yeah. And
Mhm.
the second thing too is that you don't have to take everybody who was part of your social capital before along with you. People, some people come into your life according to Ecclesiastes for a reason, a season, and not a lifetime. And that's okay too. And
yeah,
it's not like you have to feel bad because people not sharing your joy or people not seeing your vision or people not on the same mission with you. On your road, you're going to meet new people to experience this new vision
yeah.
and have a
Mm-hmm.
different kind of experience, and more importantly, build your whole reservoir around what you need and the joys that you get to fulfill, because recognize too that it's not only about you taking, it's also about you giving back. So when you
Yeah,
Yes.
return to your community and stuff, you have a lot more to offer, and you're far more interesting and engaging, and you're exciting, and you could probably spark interest of people who kind of were lost, or people who, instead, what
yeah,
people tell you, it's things like, you real brave boy. Um, at this stage, I know at this stage we're doing everything. Give yourself permission to do
We have the
whatever you want.
capacity. We have the
yeah,
Correct.
capacity. All of a sudden, you get to be a mumu under a rock because you're looking
Correct.
backward. And there's
yeah,
all new worlds that are out there just waiting. And people so, you know what is surprising, in the same way that you get your pen pals would open up to you, people are so happy
oh
to
yeah,
meet another kindred spirit
Yes, yes. A
along the
traveler along the
way.
journey.
People are
yeah,
Yes,
so happy to meet another kindred spirit who now starting, learning, getting
yes.
whatever it is. And some people are there caught up in you want to enter a new stage at the level that you left the last. You left the last stage here. Well, you have to enter this new one here and build. But
Correct.
they don't want to learn again. They want to be, and I think that is the main thing that stops people from building new networks. And it's not a network that you're getting, you're taking, you're taking, you're taking. This is a network where you really expanding your brain, expanding your experience. You could really relax and let yourself shine. And it's not a scary thing at all.
yeah,
Yeah.
And it's much
mm,
less risky because the social capital is not money.
yeah,
Correct. Yeah. But to me, it's more than social capital is even more than money
It's more
because
valuable. It's
it's
much
more
more
valuable,
valuable.
like much more valuable. You know what I mean? Because it's your currency, and you could choose where you want to invest it and how you want to spend it
Yeah.
and what you want to retain for yourself. Because there are certain things that, even though I'm in certain seasons or certain groups, it's not everything that I want to share because some of these things are so novel and so raw and so, like uncertain even for me. But I'm taking the willingness and I'm actually applying the fact that, look, I want to learn this, I want to know this, I want to
Yeah.
experience this. And yeah, it's scary, and yes, I'm afraid, but I'm not frightened. You understand? I am just challenged by the fact that it is possible, and it's only possible because I'm making it possible.
Yeah,
I am making the investment and I'm getting in
yeah.
and doing what I require for myself
You
and
don't
for
know the
those around me.
outcome. You don't know the outcome, but you're going on.
Are still
You're
going.
going on do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Which
yeah,
is what our generation is great at doing. So,
yeah.
no, get
And
your
the other thing too that I want people to be aware of, listen, there is no yardstick. Nobody holds a whip over you, or nobody says that this is the level to which you have to go. For a lot of us,
Mm.
we think that, you have to achieve something big or whatever. Just the fact that you're making the effort is the achievement.
Yeah.
You determine. So like you carry on with your exercise. I'm not an exercise either, and I've started and that kind of thing. And I say to myself, listen, when I started having that conversation with people in my community, they're saying, well, I do this and that and the other. And the way I used to think before, I would think, well, Maureen, don't even bother to try. Because if they're your age and they could do this and they could, and I said, you know what, stop. The fact is that you need to do this for you,
yeah.
and you've
Yeah.
started. And moving
Your
forward, you see,
level.
those conversations is not for that group. Yeah, it
Exactly.
is
Yeah.
evident that is not for that group. You like to talk too much. Mind your
Yeah.
business, right? It's not a competition. You know that those things distract you from your focus and what you would like to achieve. So you know what? No. Other conversations, according to you. So I have to get a bill box. It would appear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't want to agree with you, Terrian, but so it would appear that it's like you came to mind when that
Access of good
conversation took
things.
place.
They
I
help you
said,
to continue
I
living
don't
and
want to
embracing
encourage
everybody
Terrian
in.
with that at all. I'm not encouraging Terrian with that at all.
You
But
have it on record. I'm not editing it out.
and the thing about it is that even the way we communicate, the three of us, there are lots of learning going on and a lot of engagement and,
Yeah.
dynamic interaction. So I also want to tell people you don't need no big set of nothing. You can start with one, two, three, where two or three are gathered together in my name,
Yeah.
right? And I think that you just start,
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
start.
yeah. I think people are just afraid to show themselves and be wrong. Have a robust conversation with yourself first, and
Yeah,
then just reach out to somebody. You know where I could find X? Put it at this. I looking for a gardener, but I don't want a fancy gardener. I want a knowledgeable laborer who will lift
yeah.
heavy bags and dig holes and take instructions. You only have to come.
Mm.
I want to reap and pick. I don't want to maintain no crop, but I want a garden. So I have to get a
Yeah.
gardener.
You put it out there. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
no, and because it is an important part of the life that I'm going to live. So, and I will manifest, and it can't be a gardener. I can't talk to her. We have to be able to talk plant and recipe and okay.
Yeah.
It's a very complex gardener.
I feel you're looking for a sous chef.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. They have to have to be able to research plants and come and when we reap, we'll cook together and stuff like that. Yes.
Correct. Correct. Meal plan and plot. Yes.
I'm calling you a gardener for now because I can't hire a sous chef.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
And that's part of the thing too, making your dreams a reality. Why do
Yeah.
people just stop at the level of dreaming? No, no, start somewhere. And even even if it takes you 10 years, 20 years, hey, we have the time, God willing.
We
So
could,
put it in motion. You never know. Other people will join, you'll get a momentum, you'll go, sometimes you might even go in other directions that you didn't even think about because you've now started to interact and engage and that kind of thing. Yeah. It's a willingness to try and the willingness to get out of your head and also get out of yourself and not be defined by your past, but allowing yourself the opportunity to just be present. That's another thing too. We're just not present with ourselves. We need to be present with ourselves first, be to thine own self be true.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think this was on a really engaging topic, and as everyone knows, we don't talk and don't walk. We walk the talk. So I think as we look at the need to build social capitals and get together, one of the things that our tribe loves to do is get together. And I am sure many of you would have seen the save the date that came out. So Jennifer,
Yeah.
things are happening.
Sure, we celebrating again our
Yeah.
independence. Sorry, last year was great. And again this year, so it's coming up on the Sunday the 23rd. No,
Yeah.
Sunday the 23rd, yes, of August, just the week before independence.
Yeah.
And so we'll give you much more details. So it's
Yeah.
about save the date, and the date is Sunday the 23rd of August. The timing is about three to six.
Yeah.
That's the timing.
You know the
Yeah.
restaurant Riley's, a really, really great bistro. So we are planning a very different kind of afternoon where we're going to come out and celebrate. It's another chance to celebrate us. It's another chance for you all to come out and interact with us because it's important
Mhm.
that we touch on exchange. And like emancipation is freeing yourself from the shackles that would have bound you before. Independence is being able to act on that freedom in a way that benefits you.
Yeah.
So let's get together and continue the conversation while we have some good food and drink and have a great time. So, August 23rd at Riley's in Belmont, the new place, from 3 o'clock. And look in the usual places, you'll get cost and everything. So, Maureen, would that be a good way for people to start building their social capital?
It shall. It certainly shall. Yeah, I myself need to participate actively because
Yeah.
yes, I'll start there. I will
Come with
continue
strategies
what
to
I've
build
already
social
started.
capital.
Correct. Yes. Come with strategies. Yeah. Yeah. Bring your A game.
Yeah, I think it will be a great opportunity for us to get together, have a great
Yeah.
meal, chat and talk and share
Yeah.
ideas. I'm looking forward to hearing what you all have been thinking about what we've been doing and just what is this new independent life that we can prepare for. I'm excited. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and dress in your nice national colors as usual. So, so
Right.
we will continue the discussion, and we are right on time. We are right on time. We will continue our discussion on this building social capital in our meetup next
Yeah.
Wednesday. So we have some interesting people in that group who are ringleaders of building social capital, and some are struggling. So I think our discussion today would have given a great platform. And and I like that, Maureen, you have to be curious, but you also have to be brave. The risk is
Yeah.
only perceived to be high. It's not out of control at all.
Indeed.
Great. So closing comments,
Mhm.
Jennifer.
So I just looking forward to the meetup again. I love the idea of us, meeting and chatting and giving persons opportunity to express themselves. And of course, our independence, sorry, coming up. So basically, it was a nice conversation. Every time Maureen asks these questions, have me going deeper with it. But it's a cleansing in terms of, throwing off the shackles and moving forward to that freedom that I always want. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So next Wednesday, the meetup, and as usual, you will get information about and Riley's has a limited capacity. So please, even if call us and give
Yeah,
us your
book
names,
early.
already start having people calling and say, put my name down. So
Yeah.
Wonderful.
for
Okay.
our Zoom meetup next Wednesday and then the physical meetup on the 20th. So continue having a beautiful celebration of emancipation. I always say August is Trinidad's month. We start with freedom and we end with the responsibility of independence. So let's make it great. See you all.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
50 Plus Tribe and follow us from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean. Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show. We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.